Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Black Male Podcast. This is a space where we delve deep into the experiences, challenges, and triumphs of black men in today's society. I'm your host, Mike Sears, and each week I'll bring you inspiring stories, insightful discussions, and actionable advice tailored specifically for black men looking to navigate and excel in all facets of life. As black males, you've seen us at our worst. We have literally been on display in front of the world. It is my hope that this platform will also allow the world to see black men at their best. So sit back, relax, and let's dive into today's episode of the Black Male Podcast. Today, for Mike's monologue, I want to talk about something that's dear and near to my heart, and that is fatherhood. And it's simply titled, I'm the Pappy. Now, some, may be laughing or, even thinking, what does that mean? There's a movie called Life that starred Martin Lawrence and Eddie Murphy. Shout outs to Martin Lawrence, who just released Bad Boys over the weekend. And it's doing really, really well. Him and Will Smith. But back to Life. In the movie Life, not gonna get into the whole movie Life, but there's a scene in the movie. Well, basically, let me start here. The movie was set back in time, meaning it was probably 30s, 40s, 50s, somewhere around that time where segregation was still very, very high in the South, and times wasn't the best for people of color, minorities. Long story short, Martin Lawrence's character and Eddie Murphy's character got into some trouble. They were literally framed for something that they didn't do, and they were given life. While they were in prison serving a life sentence, there was a gentleman that was there, and he wasn't able to talk. He was very talented and he was very gifted in the game of baseball, but he couldn't talk. An incident happened where he ended up having a relationship with someone that he shouldn't have. And what I mean by he shouldn't have, he was in an intimate relationship with the warden's daughter, unknowingly to anybody, for the most part. So nobody knows about this relationship until the baby is actually born. The father is happy, he's excited because he's having his first grandson. Most men in that time, and even now, they're happy about having that first boy. Love the girls, nothing wrong with young ladies at all, but it's something about a man being able to bond or being able to pass on himself through that of a man child. So when he sees the child, the man child, is not what he expects when he sees the child. The child is not Caucasian or white as he expected, but the child is a little darker, meaning because of the pigment of his skin, he realizes that the child had to, or his daughter had to, been intimate with someone that was not of his same race. So he lines up all of the prisoners who were there in this particular jail, and he's trying to figure out who basically in his mind violated his daughter, and now he has this child that's biracial, that's mixed. Who did this? And as he's taking the child to each man that's there, he has them lined up in a line. He's trying to again figure out who this child is. Now, the reason why I took this much time telling this story, and I went back to the whole ideal of the time in which this story was set, is because had he identified who the baby of that child was, he may have put them to death. He may have made their sentence more harsh than what it already was, but it could have been bad. In the midst of that search, what was I feel somewhat admirable for all those men that were standing there. One by one, they began to step forward, knowing that if they were found guilty of the charge being they were responsible for being intimate with the daughter, that they could be hurt, even death. But one by one, somebody stepped up. One person said, I'm the baby's daddy. Another person said up, nope, it's not him, it's me. I'm that baby's daddy. And then they kept going all the way down to when it got to the last person, and he said, I'm the pappy. And this was Bernie Mac's character. Now, again, the question that you may have is, why are you telling me this? What's this all about? What does this have to do with today's episode and this story? In this instance, you had all these men stepping up and saying, I'm responsible. I'm going to be responsible for this child. And whatever the consequence is, I'm willing to take up for the person who doesn't have a voice. And he literally didn't have a voice, but as opposed to hurt or harm coming to that person, they were willing to sacrifice themselves and step up and say, hey, I'm here. I'm going to be responsible. Whatever comes to me, I'll be responsible. That's important, even though that was very comical, even though what happened there doesn't necessarily have anything to do with what I'm saying, except this. They were willing to step up and be there for a man child. I'm encouraging men today to in some way, somehow, be similar in terms of your responsibility. In no way am I shaming, in no way am I calling anybody out, but in every way I'm saying it's not going to always be easy. It can very well be a sacrifice. It could even cost you your life. But what are you willing to give in exchange for a child's life? And for man child, they desire to have their fathers, to have men in their lives. And so the title of today's show is Fatherhood. And I named it that, and I'm the pappy because, again, my encouragement to, all fathers or fathers to be, I want you to be there. Be there. It's so important to be there. I can say that because I was fortunate enough to have my father in my life. And today I just want to take a few more moments to honor my father, whose birthday was yesterday. In addition to that, we know that Father's Day is coming up. Now, as I talk about my father, real briefly, he was a man's man. He was outspoken. He was funny. He was a singer. He loved to watch movies. His favorite pop was Orange. He liked Orange Fago. He was a fisherman and a hunter. He taught me how to fish at the age of 5. He was a skilled tradesman. He was a jack of all trades, and as he would say it, he was a master of them all. The saying is, a jack of all trades and a master of none. He believed that not only could he do multiple things, but he tried his best to master everything that he attempted to do. He was a family man, and not only that, he also had flaws. I can go on and on and on and on and on about who this man was for one reason and one reason only. And that is because, just like those men in the story that I told at the beginning of this episode, he decided, it was a choice, but he decided to be present, flaws and all. Again, my encouragement is, men, as we look at, and we joke about this a lot, or you hear the running joke about how, in comparison, and we should never be comparing ourselves to anybody really, but just for the purpose of the encouragement for today. When Mother's Day come, highly celebrated, we laugh about how the restaurants are, you can't get a reservation, they're full, they're packed. It's a big to do, and it should be. But I thought serious about why. And it goes back to that word that I said at the beginning of this podcast, and it's women are primarily present. They're there. They show up regardless of the situation, regardless of how things look or how things turn out with the person that they procreated with. They're typically the ones that's there. And you may say, well, they have to be, but they too have a choice. They too can choose to leave or to not be there, to do something else. And it's not every situation, but more times than not, they're present. They show up. And because they show up, they're highly celebrated. What am I saying to you, man? I'm not saying or taking away anything from them or their day or what they do as mothers, but I am speaking to you and I'm saying we, not just you, but we have a responsibility to be present, to be a part of our children's lives, and not just the ones we create. It takes a village, so it's important to be involved, to be there. It's extremely important. And so, man, if you out there, I celebrate you. I say thank you for being you, and whoever you are, again, flaws and all, your presence makes a huge difference. The reason why, again, I can say all these things about my father, and I can say so much more. Again, all is good, all is bad. But if I didn't know him, I wouldn't have much to say. And so it's important for you to leave a legacy. A legacy is not just your name. It's for people to be able to speak well of you, to be able to talk about who you were and what you did and who you are. Extremely important. With that being said, understanding there's a difference to a certain degree between the father and the dad. For the sake of time, I won't go into all of that. But simply put, a dad is one who does more than just have or bear the name of a father. He's one that's there, that's doing the hard work. He's nurturing, he's bonding, he's supporting the child, and he's there for the long haul. Because I have children, that's part of the reason why we're here today. I want to celebrate some children. In the studio live today, we have some young people that are my sons, my nephews, and I want to celebrate them. Not just because they're sons, but they deserve to be celebrated because they have graduated high school and college. Let's give it up for Ethan, for Darren, and for Josh. 2 graduates from high school and 1 from college. Hey, y'all. What's going on?
Not much.
So, welcome to the show. Welcome to the podcast. Again, you all have done something again that's worth being celebrated. You have graduated high school and you're aspiring to be and do more beyond this great accomplishment, to be able to accomplish more. And for you, Josh, you have, not only graduated high school, but you have graduated college, and you're in the process of moving forward and doing more, bigger and better things. So I want to start, though, with our high school graduates. You actually started your high school career in the midst of a pandemic. How difficult was that? Start with you, Darren.
It was very difficult waking up all the time, but I had my mother there to wake me up and help me out. So thanks to my moms for that.
Based on what you thought high school would be before you got there, and then actually getting there, again, a little bit different by starting high school in the midst of a pandemic. And everybody listening, what the pandemic consisted of. There was no physical contact with anyone other than those people that was in your household, so you had to learn virtually. You had to find ways to overcome, literally play catch up, because that first year primarily you spent out of school. Your parents became teachers, which, you know, if they didn't go to school to be teachers, that, you know, they had to pivot. They had to, you know, try to work while taking care of you. Some parents work from home. They had no choice. Some parents were just told to go home and stop working. So in all of that, from that first year, and maybe Ethan, you can speak to this as well, to, you know, your final year, what were some of the challenges that you encountered, and how did you overcome that? Ethan?
So I want to start by saying thank you. I'm on the show, Mike, of course. So freshman year, we were, as you know, virtual, and a lot of us were having struggles during that time. But me personally, I think that is the most time in high school to actually improve myself as a person, because I didn't have any distractions on the outside. I literally sat in the house with my little brother and was able to focus on myself and improve myself as a person. So I feel like that definitely set a big point of who I am today, because I was able to build up my character and you know, shape who I want to be today. And then as I came back and transitioned to high school, I was really silent. I sat back a lot and listened to others and noticed how, you know, not just to jump myself and push myself into certain groups of people, and, you know, actually let people gravitate towards me, the person I built up through the time that I was quarantined. So that's actually what happened, and people just naturally came towards me and naturally gravitated to the person I was, and I appreciated those people. They're still my friends today, you know. So I think that if I could give to advice to people out there, is don't always chase a group. Sometimes the group needs somebody to look for and, you know, join. And, you know, I think that if we all build ourselves up to be stronger people, we could set an example for others of how they can be stronger as well.
Nice. I appreciate you sharing that. Something that I had to learn early on. It's easy to want to be accepted. I mean, I don't know, whether you're a young person, whether you're an adult, you know, nobody wants to be the person on the outside looking in. You know, if you see a group of people, they're having fun, they're doing things that you feel like, hey, I want to do that, and, you know, but in order to hang with them and be around them, you got to do what they're doing. And it's not always the best situation to be in, especially if you find yourself doing things that other people are doing and it doesn't really match who you are. And like you said, you had a lot of young people and even adults, because you haven't had an opportunity to spend time with yourself, by yourself, focusing, you don't get that opportunity to figure out, well, who am I as a person? Like, and what do I mean by who am I? What do I like? You know, what makes me happy? What makes me laugh? What are my goals? What are my aspirations? Because it's easy to look on the gram, you know, look on TV, look on, you know, social media, and you seeing all of these people doing these things that you feel like, man, hey, I want to be that, I want to do that. And sometimes you want to be there, or you want to do it because it looks fun, or it's everybody else is doing it, not so much because that's who you are and that's, you know, something that you want to do. So I like that as a point of advice. I like that as something that you learned. Don't hold on, Josh, I'm coming to you in a second. But based on, and this is for the high school graduates, you as Darren and Ethan, how would you rate your high school experience? Is it something that you feel like now that it's, you know, you're at the end of it, it's over, looking back, you know, would you say, man, I like, you know, I like the experience. I had fun. I didn't have fun. The teachers was cool. What was your high school experience like? What did you do in high school? Did you play sports? Did you have any extracurricular activities? What was your high school experience like?
Well, I played sports.
Okay.
I played football and ran track and field. So I'd say sports-wise, it was a struggle. It was a challenge, not a struggle. It was a challenge.
Okay.
But high school experience-wise, it was okay. It wasn't the best, it wasn't the worst, but it was okay.
And why do you feel that way? And again, and I'm asking this, you know, it's being recorded 5 years from now. When you have new experiences, you may look back. And I'm saying that because as young people, everybody that's here, and even you now, you have something to look back on, and you had expectations as a 8th grader going into the 9th grade high school, and you have expectations now, being 17 going on 18, headed to college or careers or whatever you're doing. And 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you'll look back and you'll say, wow, what you thought at 17 is not the same way you think at 27 or 22. And it's important to give yourself some room to grow and not be so hard on yourself even when you feel like you failed or you've fallen or you made mistakes, because everybody does it. Nobody that's great, nobody that's successful can sit in front of you or stand in front of you and tell you that they've never made a mistake or they didn't fall, or not just fall once or twice, sometimes multiple times. Some have fallen, extremely hard. So just want you to, keep that in mind and understand that, hey, this is a process, and you are seemingly at the beginning of that process, but you got a long road to go. And it's a good road ahead of you. I want to pivot and talk to Mike a little bit. You've traveled a little bit further than Ethan and Darren in that. You ended your high school career in a pandemic. So your year of graduation was the year when the pandemic hit. So you miss having the normal graduation. You had a virtual graduation, but that's not the same as, having an opportunity for, family and friends to be in an audience or auditorium. You didn't have an opportunity to go to prom and stuff like that. However, you did successfully graduate, and you decided to go to college, and you finished college. What was that experience like for you?
That experience was, I want to say that experience was kind of messed up.
Okay. Messed up. How do you think? In what way?
So it was messed up.
Mm-hmm.
I was wanting to go to prom.
Okay.
But they canceled prom.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't go to prom because of the pandemic.
So, not being able to go to prom, not being able to have a normal graduation, but you did graduate.
Yep.
You went to college. Can you talk a little bit about college, some of the challenges? And what I'm happy about, too, and I do want to say this, that everybody here, you started something that you finished. That's going to be extremely important throughout life. We all start a lot of things, and we get discouraged along the way, whether it's a pandemic or it's a challenge. We can talk about that a little bit too, Darren. You experience some challenges throughout high school in terms of, some expectations that you had in terms of playing, and you got injured, right?
Yes, sir.
And how did that affect your high school experience? I'm gonna come back to you in 1 second, Josh.
It really took a toll on me mentally throughout the whole process of recovering and going through the ACL, then having to watch my teammates play, and I couldn't play with them. So really mentally it was challenging, but I got through it mentally and persevered. Mm-hmm. And I feel like my senior year had a good year, and came back even more stronger than before I got hurt.
Definitely. Mike, or Josh, back to you. In terms of challenges that you had in college, did you experience some similar challenges? Were they different challenges, and how did you overcome?
Well, I experienced people interrupting me, asking me for help.
Mm-hmm. So distractions. Is this while you were in college or high school?
I think college.
How did you overcome that, or how did you get past that? Did you let it stop you, should I say that?
No, I did not let that stop me.
Why not?
Because I needed to get to the place where I can end and close the book of college.
Good. And that's important. I went to college. I had an opportunity to graduate, but I seen a lot of people that I started with that they didn't finish for one reason or another. And again, it happens. It is not the end of the world if you don't finish college, but in life, period, is my point. You want to be somebody that's able to start the things or finish the things that you start. It builds your character. It says something about you in that you're able to overcome obstacles. You have courage. You have a certain level of discipline, and all these things as men and as young men, especially young black men, we have to have. You have to be disciplined. You have to be able to overcome obstacles. You have to start what you finish. You have to finish what you start. You have to be a man of your word. Don't say you're going to do something and then you don't do it. Things like that. There's a lot more that I can say, but that's not why I brought you all here. It wasn't for me to do all the talking. There's some more things that I want you to say, and also have another guest that I want to bring on. And before I do that, we're going to go to a quick break, and we're going to bring him on. I just want to talk about today's sponsors. Today's show is sponsored by Mike Sears Productions. Bring your live and theater productions to life with Mike Sears Productions. Reach out to us at MikeSearsProductions.com or visit us on Mike Sears Productions IG page, or give a call at 313-422-3347 and learn more about our services and how we can help your next event become unforgettable. Also, this month, the month of June, is Men's Mental Health Month. So with that in mind, men, I want to share a few mental health tips. I want you to know it's okay for you to take up space. Don't shrink yourself to fit in a space that you don't necessarily belong. Stretch out. Be yourself. It's okay to be vulnerable. Simply put, you don't always have to be the tough guy or the toughest guy in the room. It's okay to say, I'm not okay. It's okay to stop for a while. Take a break. Pause. Sit down. Sit back. Relax. It gives you an opportunity to rethink things and be fresh, and then come back and do it all over again. Make peace with your mistakes. I said it earlier. We all make them. Don't beat yourself over a mistake that you've made. You are not your mistakes. Learn from them. And don't look at them as mistakes, but look at them as opportunities to do it right the next time. Take as much time as you need. It's not about being first. It's not about being second sometimes. Sometimes all you can worry about is finishing. And it's okay. You don't have to be first as long as you finish. It's okay for you to keep growing, which means this is not it. There's so much more for you to do. It's also okay for you not to have it all figured out. Rome was not built in a day. That's an old saying, which means, great things take time. So don't worry about trying to know it all right now. Last thing is choose you at the end of the day. It's okay to make sure that you're okay. You can't save somebody else from drowning. If both of y'all in the pool drowning, you have to first save yourself. They say that when you're on the plane. If you need to get oxygen, you first put your mask on, and then you help the person that's sitting next to you if you can. So at the end of the day, choose you. Those are our messages for today. And as far as mental health and the Mike Sears Productions. So I want to bring on our next guest. His name is Minister Omar Proctor, and I just want to give him a moment to talk about who he is. And I'll just briefly say that you're a minister. You're also a service worker. You work in the school system, and you yourself are raising all boys. So can you just talk to us for a minute?
Yeah, my name is Omar Proctor. I'm a minister. I'm a father of 4 boys. I'm a husband. I'm a community leader. I'm a child. I'm a brother. I'm just, I'm a man.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
And at the end of the day, I love people. I'm a program administrator with the Detroit Public Schools Community District, where I serve and lead the faith-based initiative, school advisory councils, and just really want to do the best thing for children.
Yeah, that's good. Appreciate your work. Appreciate your service. And, most people listening, and if you've come through the school system, period, there's not a strong male presence. For various reasons, and it's okay. So I thank you for being there. I think it's important, whether it's a coach, whether it's a gym teacher, whether it's a math teacher, having men present, having men desiring to want to give back and teach. It takes a lot, because it's not easy to be a teacher.
It's not easy.
It's not easy raising 4 boys. Talk about that.
Ooh, 4 boys. Number one, thank you so much for having me on. And then these remarkable young men, these 3 young men here, you all are remarkable, and you all continue to do a great job. But in speaking of my 4 boys, 16, 14, 10, and 5. So I have one that's going to the 11th grade, one that's going to the 9th grade, one that's going to the 6th grade, and another that's going to the 1st grade. All just graduated. Wow. Yeah, so my grocery bill is heavy. Great boys, and they are my legacy. It's huge because it's an honor to be a father, whether you have daughters or whether you have sons. But I'm honored that my father's name and my grandfather's name get to transfer to their grandchildren, their great-grandchildren, and that the legacy of Proctor continues. There's a scripture that says that the inheritance of the children are the inheritance of their fathers. And so I am grateful, truly, truly blessed to have sons that carry on my name.
Absolutely. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And I appreciate you coming on to the show, and I appreciate you sharing, with myself as well as these other young men, because they need to see us.
Yes. Absolutely.
It's one thing for them to see what they see, again, on social media and TV. Again, not knocking anybody for anything, but they need to see us.
They need to see
in the flesh.
Yes.
They need to see us present. They need to see us cry. They need to see us fall down. They need to see us get back up again. They need to see how we deal with our women.
Yes.
And our wives.
Yes.
They need to see how we handle money. They just need to see. Because they don't see it enough. And so again, I thank you for being here. I want to kind of shift a little bit. I want you to be able to talk a little bit again more about your story and what you do, and how you came to doing what you do. But before we get there, I want to give an opportunity for Ethan, for Darren, for Josh. We've been where you're at. You kind of know me. You kind of just met Minister Proctor, but we're educated, have businesses, have had success with a lot of things, have graduated from college, graduated from high school, obviously, in order to have an opportunity to graduate from college. Do you have any questions? Is there anything that you feel like, man, if I could travel to the future, and even though you can't literally do it, figuratively speaking, you can pull from either one of us and just say, hey, I got this burning question about XYZ, whatever it is. I want to give you an opportunity to just kind of talk.
I got a question.
Okay, go ahead.
So, how long have you been working with Detroit Public Schools?
Cool.
That's a great question, Josh. I've been there 5 years, going on 6 years in October. Great experience. It's a blessed experience to help support, undergird the district that helped birth me, even though I graduated from St. Martin de Porres High School. Shout out to the St. Martin de Porres Eagles. DPS was heavily ensconced in our area. Had Halle, Mumford, Central, Persian, Osborne. I'm calling out schools. I love all the high schools, and so we really have love for the children, the staff, the administrators, the teachers. Phenomenal district. So 6 years.
How did you 5 years ago make that decision to be a part of the district? Was it something that just kind of happened, or was it intentional?
That's an amazing question. It was something that happened.
Okay.
There's a gentleman by the name of Sean Malloy. I have to give him some credit there.
Absolutely.
Wonderful young man. Is a preacher.
Yeah.
He's a director. He was a director at Detroit Public Schools Community District, and just saw that I had ran for state rep for District 3.
Okay.
And he said, "Do you want to continue to work in the community?"
Yeah.
And at the time, I was working for DTE. I said, "Well, sure, I wouldn't mind." And he let me know that there was an opening in the department called the Family and Community Engagement Department, where we engage with families and parents, PTAs and school advisory councils, and students that sit on the board with the reps. Well, they're not legal, but they sit on the board and they help advocate and create agency for the high school students there. And so he welcomed me with that opportunity. I took it, and it's been history ever since. It's been a great time, phenomenal time.
Nice.
Yeah.
So Darren and Ethan, any questions? Any questions?
Hey, I got a question for both of y'all.
Okay.
If you could ask yourself, come out of high school, if you could tell yourself, all those years ago when you came out of high school, if you could tell yourself one thing, what would it be?
Wasn't that many years ago. But it was a lot of years ago for me.
Yeah, but if you could give yourself one piece of advice, what would it be?
I heard a gentleman say this. Actually, it was Ta-Nehisi Coates. I actually met him. And he said, which really resonated with me, was if they could just say that everything would be all right. To know that the experiences that I went through. So just to kind of give you some context around just my life, at the age of 10, I lost my mother.
Okay. Wow.
Due to breast cancer. About a year and a half later, I lost my father to liver cirrhosis. And my brother and I, we were orphans. And my grandparents took us in. Thank God for grandparents, grandmothers, and grandfathers. We love you. And so my journey continued, and they instilled into me some great things. Got me into high school. While I was in high school, my grandfather, he would, since we're talking about fathers, I'm the pappy, he would give me advice. Some of the things I didn't understand until I became a man. One of the things we were talking about, well, Granddaddy, I can beat you to the store.
Yeah.
I said, well, yeah, your legs are younger.
Right.
You can. But he says, I know the routes better than you. Which meant that his experience and his wisdom could get me to the destination in a more effective way, and maybe even faster.
Yeah.
And so, again, to answer your question, it's going to be all right.
Yeah.
No matter what situations, mistakes, things that come in, you just got to know everything's going to work out for my good.
I like that. For me, I would say there's a lot that I would say, but two things that I'll pick up on right in this moment. The first thing would be to be patient. Take your time. When you're younger, a lot of times you're trying to rush through everything. You're in a hurry. I just got to get there. You couldn't wait to get out of high school. You can't wait to get out of college. You can't wait to get a job. You just can't wait. And someone that was an elder, older in the neighborhood, a mother of a good friend of mine, one of the things that I remember her saying, even when I was, as I was getting older and becoming an adult, she said, take your time. Smell the roses, see the trees. Yeah. And even then, I didn't, you kind of, you don't listen because you're trying to get there. I don't have a lot of time. I got to hurry up and I got to get there. And what you realize is sometimes when you're rushing, you miss those things that are most important. So just, take your time. The other thing that I would say that coupled along with that is, I kind of said it in the mental health tips, and that's do what makes you happy. A lot of times, like I said earlier, you try to do what makes other people happy, because we all want friends, we all want to be accepted, and in relationships, no matter what the relationship is, you spend a lot of time trying to do what your parents want, just what you should. You spend a lot of time doing what your friends want, and that's okay, but a lot of times you can get lost in trying to please and do everything that you think everybody wants you to do, and you never ask yourself, what is it that I want to do? What makes me happy? In doing that, when you decide to do the things that makes you happy, you find your purpose. And as my pastor says, you learn how to chase purpose and not money. You're not so eager to, I'm gonna get this job because I can make a lot of money. Or I'm gonna do this because it's gonna make me a lot of money. You'll make decisions based upon, what? I want to be happy at the end of the day. I want to be, I want to make my parents happy. I want to be proud of me. I want those that are looking, y'all got younger brothers. You want your younger brothers to look up to you and say, hey, I want to be like my big brother, or my father, whatever that case may be. What about you, Dare?
Say y'all have like a limitation on resources that y'all need to succeed. How would y'all go about succeeding without the resources that y'all need?
Without the resources?
Yeah, without the resources.
So they limited
Resources.
Good question.
Great question, young man. Great question. You got to go get it. You take, this is an old saying, knowing how to squeeze water out of a dry rag. The squeaky oil gets the wheel. You have to speak, you have to go, and you have to find. And the resources will come. If you knock, the door will open, right? If you ask, it's going to be given to you. And if you seek, you're going to find it. So you just have to, there's no quit.
Yeah.
I'm going to get the resources and what I need by any means necessary, as long as you keep your integrity, right? As long as you do the right thing, and it will come. Because people will see your drive, they will see your hard work, and they'll say, what is this mission for this young man? Why is he so hungry?
Yeah.
And the Lord, he will open up an opportunity for you, and he'll use men and people to give unto you.
Yeah. Most people that are successful, when they started, they didn't have near what they wanted and or needed to reach the level of success that they thought they should have. One of the things that I constantly keep hearing is, and I believe it's the Holy Spirit, is you gotta have courage. And courage is simply being willing to do what nobody else is willing to do when nobody else is willing to do it. And that takes belief in yourself. And a no, I'm not gonna quit kind of attitude. Like you just can't give up. And it's not that the resources, it's not that the resources don't exist. It's like a diamond in the rough. It's like gold. As valuable as gold is, you got to mine for it. Like you have to dig for it. It's in the mud. It's in the dirt. It's underneath the ground. And people, miners, they not minors as in young, under the age of 18, but people who mine, they sacrifice their lives. It's a dangerous job. But they do it because of the reward. Yeah. And what they're digging for, it's worth a lot. It requires a sacrifice. So my encouragement is, never look at anything or take anything at its face value. If you can't see a way,
make a way.
Find a way.
Tell my sons, stay hungry.
Yeah.
Stay hungry. Nobody should have the more hunger than you for the things that you desire. And if you stay hungry, you're gonna clamp down like a bulldog on that bone, and you're gonna get it.
Yeah.
Always stay hungry.
Something that I made a post about, and it's again something that dropped in my spirit. It's like you can literally have anything that you want. The question is, are you willing to pay what it costs?
Pay the price.
It's when I look over my life and I think about all the things that I said, I want this, I want that. There's nothing that I asked for that at some point in my life I haven't had an opportunity to get, or I got it. And what I look back at is, but what did it cost me? Some of the things I asked for, man, I didn't really want, but I thought I did. But what I didn't do in asking for it is I didn't count the cost. What is this is it really worth? If it's worth it, you won't stop till you get it.
I wanted to add into that because this is good conversation. Jesus talks about counting up the cost, just like you said, Mike. No man goes into battle and not count up how many soldiers he's going to lose. If you're building a building, if you're doing a building project, you have to plan. So if you plan and you plan well, I'm not saying everything will go as planned. You're going to have some quirks. You're going to have some issues and different things that come about, but you just keep the course.
Yeah.
Don't quit.
Yep. And surround yourself with like-minded people. I've heard in many power conversations. What I mean by power conversation is people who have reached a certain level of success, whether they're successful in business, successful in ministry, whatever. They always talk about your environment and the people that you surround yourself around. I heard somebody recently say, you show me your friends and I'll show you your future. If you hanging around 9 bums, and I use that word lightly, people will probably see 10. So basically, it's like you are your environment. Who you hang around, who you allow yourself to be influenced by, the music you listen to, the things you watch on TV, the people you hang around, it makes a huge difference on how you think and how you believe you can be or not be, what it is you're trying to do. Any other questions?
How can you be surrounded by people that won't be your friend but will help you in the long term?
That's a good question, because everybody, that's a good question in this respect. Everybody that's put on this planet that could potentially help you, they don't necessarily always have to be your friend. Like, people think everybody gotta like me, or I have to like the person. And you all are, as students, you have experienced this. When you got a teacher that you don't like, you figure they can't teach me nothing. I'm not gonna listen. Like it's hurting them, and you don't realize what they have. Not only are they supposed to give it to you, it's yours. Like, you show up and you're supposed to get it. So I say that, Josh, because, when you feel like there's somebody or something that has something that you need, you don't always have to worry about whether they're your friend or not. You be willing to submit, you be willing to listen, you be willing to sacrifice, and do what you need to do to learn from that person or get what you need for them, whether they're your friend or not. What you'll find is that most people, they'll be friendly, but even if they're not, you can learn from anybody and you can get the lesson. When I taught, what I would always tell my students is, get the lesson. Like, you worried about the wrong things. Stop trying to like me. It didn't bother whether you like me or not. Can I help you get to the next level? Is there anything that I can do that will help you get to where it is that you want to be? And when you do that, you have success.
That sounds like a good speech. Anything, Omar?
Sure, Josh. Relationships they're seasonal.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
I just look at the time that I spent with my parents. Nothing's forever.
That's good. That's good.
And sometimes I hate that, because you have great relationships in your life. You have parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, best friends. But there are some people that are seasonal. And sometimes you have to leave them in the season that they were for. You're going to have, you all are going to college or your respective, trades or fields, occupations. you all gonna have people that you're gonna just deal with on that level.
Yeah.
After that season is over, sometimes those individuals stay parked right there, and it's okay. They don't have to be your friends, and then you move on to new individuals that's going to be beneficial in your life. You know, and help you, even your haters.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
To get you, to get you to the place of destiny. So
That's good. Wow. I think this has been a pretty good conversation. I hope that you've been able to get a little something out of what Omar has been able to share, and I've been able to learn from you all as well. And it's a constant reciprocal process. That's what life is. I wish we had more time, but it's time to start wrapping up. I wanted you to be here because I wanted you to know that not only are you loved, you're celebrated. You've accomplished something in life that you shouldn't be taking lightly. Don't say, well, hey, everybody graduating from high school. I just did something that everybody else did. You didn't, because everybody does not. Everybody doesn't aspire. Everybody doesn't have the situations or the opportunities that you were afforded. So don't take it lightly. If you going to college, and I know we didn't talk a lot about your aspirations and what you plan to do, what's next, but in that, know that whatever it is, take some of the things that we talked about today. Don't worry about your friends. Your friends will be who your friends will be. I would always tell kids, you mad about something or somebody said, 5 years from now, you're not gonna know that person.
it doesn't even matter.
Because unfortunately, like you said, you leave people behind. Because everybody doesn't grow together. Everybody doesn't grow the same way. I would love to have you all back if you're willing. We can talk some more. I think it's important.
Have me back.
I think it's important. I did a lot of talking today, which hey, it was an opportunity. It was a lot of y'all here. I wanted to definitely honor fathers. I wanted to honor my father, so I took a lot of time to do that because I think it's important. The Bible says give honor where honor is due. But I want to hear more from you. I want you to also know that this platform is a platform for you to ask questions, to be able to get what you need so you can get to that next level, because you're not just the future, you're now.
You're the now.
We need you now. We don't need you 5 years, 10 years from now. We need you now. So thank you. Thank you for being here, and I definitely want to figure out something where I can get everybody in this room back and we can continue this conversation.
Awesome. Great time.
Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. I know Omar, you wrote. I know we didn't get into a lot of stuff. I know you're an author as well. You've written a book. We definitely gonna have you back because I want you to share a lot more. As we leave, I want to just leave you with Mike's moments of motivation. I'm gonna repeat what I said last week, and it's real simple. Don't quit. Man, no matter what the situation is, you just cannot quit. And instead of reading the whole stanza of one of my favorite poems that's entitled "Don't Quit" by Edgar A. Guest, I'll just read the final stanza, and it simply says, "Success is failure turned inside out, the silver tint in the clouds of doubt. And when you never can tell how close you are, it might be near when it seems so far. So stick to the fight. When your heart is hit, it's when things seem worse that you must not quit." Signing off, as I say, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Black Male Podcast. I hope today's stories, discussions have inspired you. Remember, our journey together does not end here. Stay connected. Connected with me on Facebook and IG at The Black Male Podcast, as well as YouTube now. You can also view us on YouTube. Until next time, keep striving, keep growing, and remember, we're in this together. I'm Mike Sears. It's been a pleasure. Take care. Stay safe. And until the next episode of The Black Male Podcast, don't forget, before you go back, fade to black. Peace.
Are you an indie podcast or content creator looking to reach a wider audience? Look no further. Introducing Podcasting, the ultimate podcast network designed exclusively for indie creators like you. At Podcastic, we believe in the power of unique voices and fresh perspectives. We're here to amplify your passion and creativity, connecting you with the growing community of engaged listeners who crave original content. Podcastic is more than just a platform. It's a support system built for indie podcasters, offering a range of resources to help you succeed. From tailored promotional campaigns to professional production assistance, we're here to help you shine. Our intuitive platform makes it easy for you to be seen and heard. We do all the heavy lifting for you. You just show up and create. Plus, with our advanced analytics, you'll gain valuable insights into your audience's preferences, allowing you to refine your content and grow your fan base. Ignite your passion, expand your reach, and thrive with podcasting. Visit our website at www.podcasticlife.com to get started. Podcasting, the home for indie podcasts and content creators.